And we are live. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Jason Hebert Live. We have another missing persons interview for you tonight. Excuse me. If you're not familiar with the channel, what we do here is we interview the loved ones or sometimes advocates, as in tonight, of missing persons in an effort to help spread awareness, help get the word out there, and hopefully help bring them home, or at the very least help get justice for these families that are desperately needing it. We also do interviews with families dealing with unsolved crimes, such as unsolved homicides or survivors of crime. So if you are into trying to help these families, as you see, the show is interactive. It's a little bit different than some other shows you may see on YouTube or other platforms, whereas you're not getting a second or third hand story. You're getting it directly from the horse's mouth in most cases, either the family or an advocate that's very, very close to the case. So you get to ask questions in the chat, and maybe it's a case you've been following for years and you've had questions that you've been wanting to ask for quite a long time, and now's your chance to ask it. Or possibly it's a case you just found out about today and you get tons of questions popping up. Either way, you get to ask them directly to the source. So if you are into trying to help these families, please click subscribe below, set the notification bell to all, and you will be notified every time we go to upload a new video. So tonight's show is brought to you by the Rowdy Crafter Boutique. Amanda Jo of the Rowdy Crafter is a Jane of all trades, crafting the finest original works in arts, crafts, and balloon arrangements, such as crochets, dream catchers, paper flowers, wreaths, and much, much more. To check out the Rowdy Crafter's inventory or order from Amanda's wonderful selection of products, check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/therowdycrafter, which is linked in the description below. Give me just a moment here and I'll show you a couple of her products. She's the one helping bring the show to us tonight, so we want to say thank you to Amanda. And give me just a moment here. Tonight's show, as I load this up, is on Amiah Robertson, and we have an advocate helping the family out, CC Hatton. I know many of you that are familiar with this case are familiar with CC's name. A lot of people were asking me, was it CC that would be on tonight? And as I said in the chat, it will be CC that we're speaking to. So very knowledgeable in the case. She goes live herself often and, helps answer you guys' questions and fill everybody in. So tonight she's just helping spread the word as she does often, and hopefully trying to finally bring an end to this case, which is an absolute nightmare. And on the screen here, as you can see, here's some of the Rowdy Crafter Boutique stuff. So make sure to check them out. And thank you to them for helping bring the show to us, Amanda Jo. So CC does this often, and she is just, again, trying to help spread the word. And I want to thank everybody who is in here tonight. We have about 60 people so far, so hopefully notifications are starting to get out there. Hello to some of our regulars, watchers, Stephanie, Amy, Truth and Justice, Annie, of course, too many to name here. We get justice for Amiah Robertson in there as well, answering questions in the chat. Okay. Alberta Proud, Sinful Butterfly, all you guys, is just hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to bring CC on now. I'm trying to give it just a minute or two to let the chat fill up a little bit. We have had a bit of a problem with notifications, so please try to hit the like button, guys. It will tell YouTube that you're enjoying the video, and it'll make sure that it does get notifications out to everyone. The more eyes we get on this, the better. And that's basically it. So please click subscribe, and also hit the like button if you haven't yet. And tonight I bring on CC. CC, I want to thank you so much for joining us. So sorry for what you guys are all going through, over there. I know you've done a heck of a lot of work on this case, and I just thank you for helping spread the word further and bringing it to us tonight.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me on here.
Thank you. So for the people not super familiar with the case, do you want to give a little bit of a background and just kind of fill us in on the timeline of what led to her going missing? And then we'll kind of, from there, we'll go into what we think may have happened, but just tell us a little bit about the background story.
There was a baby that was reported missing on March the 16th of 2019. And it came about that the mother, Amber Robertson of Amiah Robertson, did not report Amiah missing right away. She, in fact, went missing on March the 9th of 2019. And the last known person to have Amiah was then boyfriend Robert Lyons. And since that time, this has been an ongoing investigation. Amiah was placed on a homicide list on March the 23rd, a week after Amiah had been reported missing. They had found things on a riverbank called 1907 here on the west side of Indianapolis. And since then, I mean, the case has just been really crazy. I've never seen anything like this in my whole entire life. I pray to God to never see anything like this ever again. There's just been a lot of twists and turns in the story. The mom's told several stories as to what happened. The boyfriend has told several stories. There was a woman that was also involved. They call her the babysitter. Her name is Jeanette Browning. Robert was actually staying at her house. He was basically homeless. He was a drug runner for this woman.
And just real quick, sorry to interrupt. I just for your protection, I just want to say, I say this in every episode. We're not making any hard accusations of anyone that's brought up tonight. Everything is alleged. It's just people trying to piece together what they know. So if any names or anything are mentioned by myself or CC, it's no hard accusations, all just alleged. I just say that to be safe, CC. That's all.
Right. These people were actually stated by law enforcement, the ones I'm speaking of. So they all proclaim their innocence. Okay. And I'm sorry, but the baby just didn't disappear on her own. She is, in fact, a homicide victim. Some people get it twisted. They say that they think Amiah was sold for drugs and this and that because Robert was he was a druggie. And there are messages to prove he was a drug addict. And just his physical appearance and whatnot. The mom of Amiah even said he was on drugs. So, those are actual facts right there. That's not speculation. But as of to date, it's 2 years later. We did do a visual for Amiah, and we had an actual other podcaster YouTuber there that did an amazing story for Amiah. It was really beautiful. Him and his team. So, we just are still trying to get the word out there because we just can't let this go on. There is still a baby that has not been found out here, and she is a homicide victim. And we just have to let our whole community know, the whole world know, that this is not okay. You can't just take a baby and make her disappear and nobody ever be held accountable. That just is not okay.
Absolutely. Just, people that are familiar with the channel know we're somewhere right over about 100 interviews or so. And they're all awful, of course. They're all dealing with incredibly sad situations, but when you're dealing with something so precious and so young and innocent, it's just even another level of just sadistic, just absolute tragedy. So something like this, we have to do everything we can to help spread the word. This is Robert, correct? Can you see what I'm showing on screen? Hang on 1 second.
No, all I see is you and myself.
Even right now, you can't see. Okay.
Yes, that's Robbie Lyons. Yes, that's him.
Okay, just to make sure anyone in the area or something knows who we're talking about. I see what you mean. I can. He kind of has that look as far as, possible, user and things like that. Kind of has a little bit of that look in his eyes. So that's kind of where the investigation is leaning heavily towards, right? Is now that we know the backstory, leaning towards him. So why don't you go into how we know what we know and why we're pretty sure that that's how things turned out.
As I said, there were things found on a riverbank, right close to the babysitter. They call her the babysitter, close to her house. I mean, you could actually walk to this location. Robert Lyons, Amber Robertson, the mother, Jeanette Browning, the babysitter, and her friend Brenda Carter and a couple other people were at what's called the Waterfront Hotel, and Robbie left the morning of the 9th and told Amber he was going to have Jeanette babysit so they could stay at this hotel and party. And Robert left with the baby, Jeanette and Brenda. They ended up back at her house, I don't know, maybe a couple hours later. and their whereabouts before then were known by law enforcement. They were actually captured on video camera across the street by one of Jeanette's neighbors. So that he was seen sitting stuff out onto the lawn and letting them out of the car, but Amiah was never taken out of the car. And from then, he had broken down at Rockville and Mickley area, which is not very far from the babysitter's house, on his way back en route to the Waterfront Hotel where the mom was. And he did not come back that night until about 10 p.m. empty-handed. They had left the hotel that morning about, I don't know, a little after 11 o'clock. And he had no baby. And then for a week straight, like, he kept taunting Amber, saying, oh, the baby's safe, this and that and the other. He never brought her back to the mom. And he just kept taunting and taunting and taunting. And there are Facebook messages to prove this. That later came out. They say I hacked Amber's Facebook. I had already previously heard these messages. I'm not going to say how. Some people do know how I heard them, but it doesn't matter. The fact is there is Facebook messages between Amber and Robbie stating that he knew where the baby was the whole time. And he kept saying, come with me, Amber, I'll take you to the baby. She didn't feel comfortable going with him, she said. She felt like her life was in danger. And then other things led up to other things. And then he hit her with the car on the 16th of March and at the babysitter's house. And his ex-girlfriend was there. Her name is June. She witnessed the whole thing. And then Amber finally called the police. She finally reported. She reported, oh, hey, you know, my boyfriend hit me with his car. And oh, by the way, my baby is missing. So that's what got this whole ball rolling. And then sometime later, she found the belongings that were on the riverbank. She's the actual person that found the belongings of Amiah and Robbie's on that riverbank. And later on down the line, after I met her, I met her shortly thereafter. She went down to the riverbank with my friend Sierra and I that runs the Amiah group with me. And she showed us where all these belongings were found, and it was just really odd. And we kind of searched down there a little bit that day and whatnot. Just since then, I mean, it took me like 3 whole months to try to piece everything together. I've done a lot of investigating myself. I've been back and forth to that waterfront inside and out several times. I've tried to piece things together. I've been in that pool area because I sent you a picture where the very last picture of Amiah was taken with her mother, Amber, at that pool. And that was the very last picture that was ever taken with Amiah. But there was one detective that was on the case, Jeannie Burkhart. She's no longer on the case anymore. That case, when she retired, was turned over to her partner, Erica. Erica is on the case now. So that's kind of where things went from the time this was reported. They had investigated the 1907. They had done searches at 1907. They actually went into the water at 1907. And they also did an extensive search of the babysitter's house, and they even dug in the backyard. That was April the 30th of 2019.
How long of a time period is there from when she's last seen, 100% confirmed safe, to where it's realized now she's missing and where the Roberts should have her? And how long of a time period are we talking here?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question.
So from when we last know that she's safe, when she's seen safe, to when we start realizing something's amiss, And he's saying, "Oh, I can take you to her," and all that. How long of a time period is that?
Well, Amber didn't realize that Amiah was actually missing until I believe the 10th.
It was 2
Because
days until. Okay.
Yeah, she was actually under the assumption that Robert had dropped Amiah off with Jeanette Browning, and he never did that. And there's actual footage, I mean, that can be seen where the baby never got out. So then she's telling me that she actually FaceTimed with Amiah at some point here and there. And come to find out later, that was not even true, because then it supposedly Brenda ended up with the baby. And she didn't even really know Brenda. So why would Brenda have your child? And so it was basically a couple of days. And then after that, the taunting just kept going on. And still to this day, I have no freaking idea why Amber did not contact the police right away. If she did that, Amiah could have been found. She would have been found. And none of us would even be here today. Amiah probably wouldn't have been alive, but I mean, they would have been able to find Amiah, because everyone that knows anything about law knows, or a missing person case, the first 48 hours are the most crucial.
Absolutely.
I mean, if that were my baby, we wouldn't even be here, because my baby wouldn't have been in that predicament anyway. But I'm just saying, like, as a mother, you do everything you can to protect your children. And Amber did not do that. She put her in harm's way. She put her with people that you don't put your children around. You just don't do that.
It sounds like there's definitely more than one person that are somewhat involved in this. And then you have another layer of, like you say, of neglect on top of that. So, even if there's a person or two that wasn't actually involved, they at least didn't do what they should have done, whether as a mother or as a protector of the baby. So you have some people responsible, one or two people neglectful, and it's just kind of a mess wading through those layers, trying to figure out who did what. And it's a bit of a nightmare, actually, trying to look through this all, as you know. So we have a question to ask you to discuss the pit bull theory.
Okay. There was a story back in the very beginning. I forget. I was added into an Amiah group right after Amiah went missing. That's how I got started in this. And I am local. So I remember in that group, somebody discussing something about a pit bull that had been at Jeanette's house that attacked the baby. And then, you never heard any more about that story. And then back within the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months or something to that effect, the pit bull story came up again. But then this time it came up that it happened at a different location with different people that do know Jeanette Browning. And they did have a pit bull, a huge pit bull. And the pit bull was supposed to be vicious. And I pretty much would say that the pit bull was vicious, because before Amiah went missing, I don't know, I think maybe a couple of months before that, something to that effect, there was actually a report of that pit bull that had attacked somebody, something to that effect. But there was just all kinds of awful things being said in this story that the pit bull had done to Amiah, and that Robbie had supposedly stopped by this person's house, and that's when this happened. So yes, there is a story going on around out there. And at first, like, I was so gun-ho that, this is possibly how this happened. I'm not too sure about that anymore. So that's all just speculation. There has never been any kind of proof that ever did happen. There's been so many rumors and so many stories that have been twisted around in the Amiah groups. that this person got thrown into the mix and that person. It's like, why are any of these freaking people being put into the mix? Because there are certain people that surrounded Amiah, and all of these other people didn't even have anything to do with Amiah, and it made the case so much harder. And it's made it a lot more difficult for the detectives that are investigating the case.
And
It's made it. Go ahead.
I apologize, and I think there's a slight delay, so I don't mean to cut you off. So nobody's been arrested as of today. Has everyone that you've mentioned, Brenda, of course, Robbie, all these people, has everyone been questioned? Where do we stand with that? I'm surprised nobody has said much of anything to kind of lead us anywhere.
Yes, everyone that was involved with Amiah or that was around Amiah that day, minus Amber's younger brother, I do believe, has been questioned. And multiple times. Like, some people don't think that they were, but law enforcement didn't give the public a lot to go on. They don't do that in most cases here. So it's been difficult for the public to actually know what's really going on in this case. So if you don't put your feet in, to the fire, so to speak, you don't know what's going on. You don't have a clue. But everybody thinks that, they're just letting these people off scot-free. That is not the case. Nobody's off the hook. Nobody's off the hook. Because if people don't think that detective thinks that it's, that she's just thinking, oh, it's just okay, and the case is cold and stuff like that, that's absolutely not true. This case is far from being cold. I can just say that much. A lot of people here don't have faith in law enforcement as far as Amiah getting justice. I totally do. I have my own reasons why. I have 110% faith in what is being done in the investigation.
Okay, well, that's good to know. You don't hear that often. A lot of times the people feel the investigation was jumbled pretty bad. So it's good to know that they at least are on their P's and Q's on this one. However, so you have the number one question I've been asked, whether it be here in the chat or by people beforehand, pretty much revolves around is there any proof she's dead, and then talk of like selling babies, things like that. So where do we? So you seem pretty certain that she is deceased, that it was a homicide. Is there any chance that she is either being hid somewhere or got sold or alive in some way? You seem pretty sure that that's definitely not the case.
No, that is not the case. I wish I could say it were, but people need to understand something, as they keep saying, I think Amiah was sold for drugs. First of all, I'm going to say that is the utmost bullshit in this whole case. I'm going to put that out there. I'm tired of people saying that because it's not true. And if you stop and think about it, what drug addict wants to buy a baby? I mean, come on. She was sold for drugs. That makes no utter sense. And, as far as her being in a safe place, no, she's not in a safe place. Yes, there is evidence stating that Amiah is deceased. That is what they based this whole investigation on. When they placed her on a homicide list, that is not because just the fact she couldn't take care of herself. That was just something they threw out there so they don't have to go public with what they really have, because it is a homicide investigation. And at that point, we had already had all these people being thrown into some Amiah groups and starting a bunch of rumors. And then, let's turn this in as a tip. Let's turn that in as a tip, and all of this bullshit. Let's put it out there, because I get real aggravated with that. No, Amiah is not alive. I wish I could say she were, but no, she isn't. I mean,
right.
I'm a person. I have a few other people that I go out here with and search for the baby. And a lot of people that are watching this that are familiar with me and know what I do, and the other girls as well, they know that any place we're searching is not for anybody or not for a live baby. We don't go searching in people's homes. We go searching in abandoned houses. We go searching in wooded areas. We dig holes. We search. We've been in waist high river water looking for this baby. That's the only places law enforcement has been searching for this baby. So I'm sorry, as much as I want to believe, Amiah's alive. Amiah's not alive. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit any one person out here and give them false hope. There is no hope to be had as far as Amiah's coming back alive if she's ever found. Not going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the police putting her, on a homicide list points pretty well to the fact that they probably know something they're just not releasing. And
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you can count on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that the police obviously they hold on to lots of details because putting them out there can be detrimental to the investigation. So,
well, it can hinder the case as well. And then like I've said, so many people have ran with so many rumors and just a bunch of lies, and I don't even know why. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, if there's something that I find that I know is a good tip to turn into those detectives, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, hey, such and such told me this and this, when I know it's not true. Like, I have to have some kind of good, substantial, something that I feel that is detrimental to these detectives that they can actually use versus, some kind of nonsense. I've had to deal with that in the past as well from one of the searches that me and the other girls have done. And it just turned out to be a bunch of nonsense, and the detective was really irritated about those other girls doing that. So
yeah, unfortunately, when you get those groups of people mean well, the Facebook group, whatever it is, a bunch of people get together trying to help, and that's often the result of it is just rumors. People, a lot of times, it's people looking for attention. They want to be the one to think of a theory, and then someone else sees it, and it's no longer just a theory. It's, well, I heard this happened, and it just evolves and spins out of control. So AJ about justice asks, have cadaver dogs been used? Have they been searching on locations, etc.?
Yes, there have been cadaver dogs here. Law enforcement brought some in when the case first began. I know they've used them at other locations as well, a little longer, further on into the investigation. I've actually had people to bring cadaver dogs here. And then I've actually worked with a different source that brought some dogs. So there have been dogs here more than, a few times.
Okay.
But that's the thing, like, dogs don't always pick up on things like everybody thinks they do. Just because they might be hitting on an area doesn't mean that there's a baby there. That they could be hitting on it for multiple different reasons. And people that have brought dogs in here, they could explain exactly why that is. And that's what I've been told by people that have brought dogs here.
Okay. So there's kind of three levels of information in this case or any case. There's the stuff everybody knows, the public. Then there's the stuff that the police know that either they don't tell anyone, or maybe they'll tell only someone close to the case like you. Then there's kind of that middle layer of, like you say, there are rumors, people make up stories, there's misinformation. Is there any popular misinformation out there that you want to clear up of things that are thought but aren't true, or vice versa? And anything you can put out there that's not well known that you want to make sure people know, or things that are well known but are actually incorrect? Is there anything like that you want to?
There are people out here protecting Amber, the mom. One thing I have to remind people of is that at the end of the day, she did hand her baby off to a well-known drug addict. He has violent tendencies. He has been violent. I want to put that out there for everybody protecting her. Just because, maybe she wasn't directly involved, with Amiah missing, at the end of the day, she's still responsible for that baby.
Right.
And then we hear that he handed the baby back off to Amber. No, I don't believe that is true whatsoever. He has admitted to law enforcement that he was the very last person with the baby. He admitted that in the very beginning. So let's keep in mind, and then some people have said, oh, I think Robbie was framed. And no, I don't think Robbie was framed, period. No, that's not the case here. He is the suspect in this homicide. And later on, there were when the dig was over, they were giving a statement to the public, and he said suspects. He did not say suspect. Okay, so they do believe there is more than one person involved here. So I want to keep that out there to the public as well. That yeah, I do think Robbie is not exactly stupid. I think he's kind of has some kind of smarts other than doing drugs, but just to say, I don't think Robbie is smart enough to pull off a homicide by himself. And I really don't. And then we have, the dog theory and blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily believe that's true. I know a lot of people on the west side have said that that's what happened to Amiah. But I think that was a rumor that got started and people kind of really ran away with that theory. So I really think that's just not true, honestly. I mean, it kind of fit in the beginning, later on down the line, but I really honestly don't think that happened to that baby. I did for a hot minute, but I think it's just a rumor that went crazy.
Okay. All right. So just to clear up some misconceptions, I think that clears up a few of the big ones. We've kind of been teetering around this fact, but so Louise Haraway asks, what are your thoughts of what happened to her? Do they think the father is responsible, or the mother and the father, or I mean, as it stands, the investigation at least is focusing on Robbie. That's pretty much all we can say, right? Do you want to go into it any further than that?
Okay, so whatever happened to Amiah, I do believe, yes, I do believe Robbie is responsible for what happened to Amiah. And yes, there is proof that says she is deceased. That isn't coming from me. That's coming from law enforcement. I believe Amiah, whatever happened to her demise happened on March the 9th. Due to certain different things. Do I believe that Amber has some type of knowledge of what happened to Amiah? Yes. Not in the beginning, but later on down the line, I strongly believe she partially knows what happened to her baby, and she just shows no type of emotion. I mean, a little bit here and there, but like everybody knows that's been around Amber, and I can say that because me here, I got close with her. She just does not show a lot of emotion for a person that lost a baby. And a month afterwards, she got pregnant with her third child.
Okay.
And pregnant with the fourth as we speak. So, I mean,
does she have those children?
No, they are with family. When Amiah went missing, they took her oldest child, Logan. He just turned 4. They took him away. He is a ward of DCS, which Amber's aunt and uncle are taking care of him. They have been for literally 2 years. And then with the third child she got pregnant with, they are now taking care of him as well. They've been taking care of him since he was 2 months old. And she had handed him off to the guy that she says is his dad, which I don't think DNA has ever been established on that part. But now he's with the aunt and uncle as well. So he's with his other sibling, Logan.
And someone in the Justice for Amiah said that her dad, someone on the Justice for Amiah page here in the chat said that her dad is not known, Amiah's dad. Is that correct?
No, he isn't known because I strongly believe it's Keith Ripberger. Amiah's Amiah looks identical to his two children, Carly and Draxton. I've been around those kids a lot, and I'm not lying. She is dead ringer for those two children. She looks just like Keith. Amber was kind of denying him in the beginning, but then when we were at Keith's house, me, Amber, and another guy, we were at Keith's house in the kitchen, and then he started confronting her about why didn't she go get the DNA test done and all this, and she just gave him a bunch of excuses. So it's never been determined, no, but I would say 99% that he is the father of that child.
Okay.
That he is Amiah's father.
What really is odd to me is earlier when you said that there was a point that Robbie said to her, "I'll take you to where she is. I know where she is." And you had said that she feared that he might have been trying to. I believe you were saying that trying to set her up to hurt her or something. I believe is what you're getting at. Is that what you think that was, or what? I mean, what else could that have been? That to me is the weirdest thing of this whole case is that fact right there.
Yeah, it's even in, she told me that he said this, and then I saw it with my own two eyes. I do believe he was probably going to do something to her, because I believe at that point he had already done something to Amiah. And I believe he was just so angry and so distraught with Amber that he was going to take her and do something with her as well. But my thing with that is, if that was my child and I was in her shoes, I would have called the police, and then I would have gotten that vehicle with him so they could be following us.
Right.
Okay. And I mean, he may not have been taking her to Amiah. Who knows what he was doing? But he openly admitted he had Amiah. He knew where she was. And then when he was questioned by police, he gave a bunch of bogus locations that did not even exist. And the ones that did exist, these people were cooperative. And Amiah had never even been there. And now here we are 2 years later, literally 2 years later. And there has been no other sightings of Amiah. She's nowhere to be found. I mean, we've tore up the earth trying to find this baby. And it's like finding a needle in 10 damn haystacks. It is just so unbelievable.
I don't understand. He admitted to being the last one with her, and he gave locations where she was that were lies, and they're still not arresting him.
There are specific reasons why he hasn't been arrested yet. I mean, here in Marion County, some people aren't familiar with this. In Indianapolis, Indiana, like, this county is like no other in Indiana. If this were in any other county here, they would have done been in jail. They would have done been to trial. But we also have a case here that some people may be familiar with, Delano Wilson. He was maybe a month old when he went missing, and they caught his father in all kinds of lies. And then there was a trail leading them to a river, and then there was just nothing. The trail went cold, and they put that father on trial, and because of some mishap or whatever happened, he was set free, and he can never be tried again. And I think they're trying to avoid that happening here in this case. They do not want another baby Delano case in Amiah's case, because they only get one shot. And if they screw it up or anything to the sort, then these people are going to walk free, and Amiah is never going to see justice. So there's a lot more to this case than people think that there is. There is so much more to it. Like, all the lies, all the rumors, all the speculation, all the bullshit that's been put into this case, like, it hasn't helped anything. But just to let other people know when cases are being turned in or whatever to that prosecutor, it has nothing to do with our Amiah groups. Just to let everybody know that, because some of these people in these Amiah groups, they think, just because of this or this that somebody said in an Amiah group, like, that affected the case. That has nothing to do with the case. I mean, it just sets things back a little bit further, because, now the detective has to stop doing what she's doing to actually investigate real tips. And now this person said this, and now, oh, well, she's got to go check that out because it became a tip and it was just bullshit in the first place.
Mm.
So it's become a really, really, I have never seen a case like this in my whole life. I followed the whole Casey Anthony case. This is a little similar to it. But there was not all this other dilemma thrown into the case. You know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of nonsense over on the west side of Indianapolis. So it doesn't help things. It really doesn't. So there's a lot more to it than people think. Just how our justice system works. I mean, the detectives know what they're doing. They just need to let them do their job.
They're just being careful with it, it sounds like you say, so they don't blow it
Yep.
on the one shot.
Yep.
Good point by Louise Haraway here. Maybe you can clarify whether or not this is correct. But she says when Robbie said he would have taken Amber to the baby, he could have meant a body, not a live baby. He could have buried her. Do you think that's possible, or did he specify?
He didn't specify where he said he was going to take Amber. I mean, it could be possible. Yes, he buried her. Like I said, we've dug holes. So, at specific different places. What he meant in saying that, I don't know. That was not specified. It was not even specified to Amber. But he did at one point say, you know, the baby's safe. I'll take you to her, Amber. He has said that before. But whether, you know, I don't think Amiah was alive at the time when he was saying all this stuff. Like I said, on March the 9th, I believe, is when Amiah met her demise.
And when you had said that that whole thing when he told her, you know, I know where she is, I'll take you and all that. How long after was that from when she went missing? Was that like the next day, a couple days later? Well, no, because she didn't know until 2 days later.
Yeah, I think it was like a few days later. I would have to actually go back in those messages. The person that's running Justice for Amiah page, she might be able to answer that. I'm actual friends with her, so she might be able to answer that. I know she's watching this podcast right now. So I can't remember specifically how many days it was or anything like that. It was in between that week from the 9th up into the 16th. Now, I do believe when Amber and Robbie actually left that hotel, there have been some crazy stuff that had happened at that hotel after he came back that night. He was angry about some things. I'm not really going to get into that. But when they left, I do believe they did go back to Jeanette's house, the babysitter. And Amber would have known the baby wasn't there. I mean, Jeanette claims that because I spoke with the babysitter and I have audio of that, and she says Amber knew that baby wasn't at my house, and I strongly don't believe that the baby was there either. I don't believe that. And then on the 14th, Amber and Robbie ended up at another hotel in Beech Grove, which is not far from where I live, and it's probably 5 minutes outside of Indianapolis where I live. So I've actually went there to like verify some things too. And they were there and they got into a huge fight. And then he beat her up at that hotel. And then she ended up leaving there. She had to Uber back to her mother's. And then her oldest son's father, he came into the picture. And then she ended up going to a party with him and another guy, Trey, which people are familiar with who he is, and another girl. So she's there with 3 other adults, and she's getting an Amiah tattoo on her wrist. And the person that put it there told me that she said it was a memorial tattoo.
Really?
Yeah. So since the baby went missing, that's 2 hotels she's been at before she even reports Amiah missing. Your baby's missing, but why are you not reporting this? You know, surely to God, you don't think your baby's safe all this time, even though she's known him most of her life. But she knew he had the violent tendencies. He's already beat you up. He beat your brother up, and he had cancer. What the hell? So You don't feel safe with him, but you're going to let your baby go with him. I don't understand that. I'll never understand that. And in 10 million years, understand that.
Real quick, the Justice for Amiah Robertson account says it was March 16th was the same day she was reported missing, that he told her he'd take her to Amiah.
Okay. I can always ask her anything, like,
Yeah.
from, we used to actually be in a chat together and everything. So, she remembers some stuff that I don't remember. So,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to it, so sometimes you need to check your notes and stuff. I'm sure. I'm
yeah.
the same way with when I'm dealing with cases.
Yeah.
Joan Coffey asked, "Did they check the hotels?" I'm assuming she means police.
Absolutely. Yes. Any place that was stated from day one that they had been to has been thoroughly searched by law enforcement. Any hotel, any house that Amiah was supposed to be at, the place where Amiah's belongings were found, anywhere. Yes, absolutely. That has been thoroughly checked.
Okay. Trinia Miller says the video also of Robbie behind the hotel standing at the back of his truck, unable to see what he was doing for a few minutes.
Not sure what she's referring to.
Yeah, I guess you were saying that they didn't take the baby out of the car. Maybe that's what she's talking about. Couldn't see.
That was at the babysitter's house. That was at the
Okay.
babysitter's
So
house.
a
So I don't know what. I don't know. What you're talking about.
Let me see. No. Oh, Justice for Amiah said that wasn't Robbie. Okay.
She might be talking about when there was someone seen coming from the babysitter's house that the news reported on. Somebody came from the front of the house and around into the back of the alley behind Jeanette's garage. That was Amber. They said it was Robbie, but it's not. It was Amber, because the day that they shot that video or whatever, Robbie was in jail, because after Amber reported that she got hit by the car and Amiah was missing, that was on the 16th, and that was on the southwest side of Indianapolis. Robbie was put in jail on the 17th about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning over by Amber's mother's house, which is on the near east side of Indianapolis. So that was Amber on video. That was not Robbie.
She says it was on the interview you did with Chasing Evil.
Okay, she might be talking about where they see Logan's truck backed up to the dumpster. From that dumpster, you can see Jeanette Browning's house. All that happened, I'm going to put this out there for everybody. That was not Robbie. That was Logan. Okay, that is Logan Jr.'s father. Robbie and Logan did not get along, so there was no reason for Robbie to even be with him. And that was on, I want to say, the 17th. He had backed up to the dumpster. Trey, which is Andres, got out of the truck, and he did go around to go use the bathroom. I don't know where they're getting that he threw something in the dumpster. I don't know where people are getting that from, because I've seen the whole video. I never saw him throw anything in the dumpster.
Okay. Yeah, that is what she was talking about. She said so. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that clarifies.
Yep.
Louise asked, did the babysitter not go to the police about the missing baby? She asked if she was questioned. You already said she was.
Absolutely. Yes, she's been questioned more than once.
Yeah. If you think he's done. Then she says, why would you stay with this man if you think he's done something to the baby? Well, I agree there.
Oh, that's a question we all would like to know. I mean, Amber's a different kind of, like, I don't even know how to describe Amber. People think she's slow. No, that's just an act, honestly. She's not really slow. Amber's smarter than people give her credit for. And a lot of people have already heard me say this, but the ones that are just now catching on to the story, watching it, I've had many, many, many conversations with Amber. She may not word things the best, but Amber's smart up here. I want you all to understand that. Amber can count damn good. She can cheat at cards like nobody's business. You can have a whole conversation with Amber, and it can be 30 minutes long. She can almost recite the damn thing word for word. Okay.
Mm.
I can't even do that. And I'm sorry, I have an actual education. So just for her to put on the persona like she's slow. No, honestly she's not. Not
Mm.
like people think she is. So
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there to people. So I don't know why Amber did what she did that whole week. Um, I can't speak for Amber. I just get the, oh, well, I thought Amiah was safe, but he's leading you around in circles. How can you think your baby's safe? I think that's just bullshit you're putting out there, to the public for whatever reason. I've
Mm.
asked Amber, and there's been times I've been aggravated at Amber when we were friends. And at one point, one night we were driving, or I forget, like it was late at night. We're out driving around, just going place to place. And I looked over at her and I said, and I threw my hands up and I said, Amber, what the F did happen to this baby? And
Mm.
her eyes got wide. She just kind of looked at me and I'm like, at this point, I'm getting really aggravated. And then I'm like, calm down, Cece. You got to calm down. Just, you know. And then I told her I was sorry. I didn't mean to like get snappy or whatever. But I'm sorry. I'm frustrated. I'm just frustrated. Like, strangers are out here, like people that never even met Amiah, like searching for your baby. And
Mm.
the very first night I asked her at a vigil, like shortly after Amiah went missing, the first thing I asked her, I said, I'm not asking you to tell me anything about the investigation. All I'm asking you is, since we do search for your baby, where could we possibly go look? I honestly don't know. What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know? Like, I don't understand that. Like, this is a guy that she's known most of her life.
Right.
It just didn't make a lot of stuff that she said and done does not make sense to me at all.
Um, so speaking of her, it kind of lumps them all in together. A lot of people asking about Amber, Robbie, and the babysitter. Are they all on drugs? There seems to be yes and no with Amber. A couple different answers. I don't know how relevant that is, but just so we get an idea of the personalities involved. If you don't want to answer, I guess you don't have to.
No, that's fine. I will answer. Yes, Jeanette has been involved in drugs. Yes, Robbie has been involved in drugs. Prior to me knowing Amber and Amiah going missing, I've said this a million times. I don't know what Amber did back then, but when I was around Amber, and I was around her a lot, I spent a lot of time with her. There was never one time, and I can detect that shit a mile away, when somebody's on drugs. Amber was never under the influence of anything. Amber didn't even smoke a cigarette. We went to the bowling alley one night with one of my friends, and she drank a tiny bit of a wine cooler. Amber's just not a partier. I cannot see Amber doing drugs. I just don't see it. I mean, I just think she reached out to the wrong people, to feel loved. I think that's what her whole thing with Robbie was, that he made her feel some type of way that, he makes me feel special. Like he loves me, he cares about me, whatever the case. Because I know he was head over heels in love with her. He was infatuated with her.
Mm.
And all the messages that I've read and everything that I've been told by people that actually knew them, that's the persona that's put off to me. I think he was very jealous of Amber. And I think he was mad at her possibly when he took that baby. That's a good possibility.
Yeah, someone had said
And
something earlier about possible revenge or something like that.
absolutely. I mean, I'm not putting that off the table at all, because other people, keep thinking that dog thing and whatever. And for a long time, I kept thinking it too. But now I'm kind of like not looking in that direction, because I keep trying to piece everything together. When would this have had time to happen? Whose house would it have happened at? There's only two people that it could have possibly been. And I don't believe it happened at either place, because the second place that it was said to have happened, I've been in that house with other people. when we were knocking on their door, when we talked to them and they let us come in that house. And I just don't believe that it happened there. I don't. I don't believe, I know it didn't happen at Jeanette Browning's house. I'll just put that out there. I know it didn't happen there. I'm not going to say why, but I know that didn't happen there. So that leads me back to.
Yeah, so what is your, I'm sorry, you cut off for a second. I'm sorry, keep going.
That leads me back to Robbie. Whatever happened to Amiah, I believe he's responsible for it. I strongly believe he's responsible for what happened to Amiah. Even if it was just an accident, and I have spoken to him in Messenger, and he got angry. He kept avoiding me. And the other girl, Lindsay, that lives here, he kept ignoring us. He just would read our stuff and then he wouldn't say anything. And I was shocked he didn't block us at that point, but he didn't. And then he got locked up for violating his probation because he got in trouble with the babysitter for some checks that they stole and cashed. And then I was like trying to get at him. Lindsay was trying to get at him. I was trying to get at him just every way I could to make him feel guilty. And send it, whenever he did go to bed, send him thinking, send him to bed thinking about this baby. Like, she looked up to you, you were her protector, you and Amber, like this baby looked up to you two, and you failed her. Like whatever happened to her, maybe it was an accident, and maybe you felt like you couldn't call the police at the time or whatever, but she deserves dignity. She deserves to be buried with dignity. Like, how can you look in that little baby's face and just knowing whatever happened to her, you are responsible? How can you just keep going on with your life knowing that she's never going to have a life because of you? How can you just go to bed every night thinking about, or, just not even caring? It just pisses me off when I start talking about him and her. It just really gets to me.
Do you have a theory on where this might have happened? I know you kind of feel like you know who, about when. Do you have a theory on where?
I have a good possibility. I can't really state on here where I think it happened, but I have a good feeling. I mean, I can't say 100% because I really don't know, but I mean, every place I've been, every place I've investigated myself, and just trying to put this into this timeline and that one into that one, and things don't fit here and things do fit here. Yeah, I do. And the dog theory just does not fit. I mean, other people want that to fit because, it's something, and we're running with this. But no, I'm looking at everything with my eyes wide open. I try to put myself, I'm not a detective. I have studied a little bit of forensics here and there and things like that. And I was told I should be a private investigator because I've done stuff like this my whole life, not with homicide cases or anything like that, just with other stuff. And, if I want to know something bad enough, I don't quit until I find out. And I go any means possible to do that. And that's the way I'm looking at things, like realistically. Just because somebody wants this theory to fit in here doesn't mean that it fits. It's like putting all these pieces to a puzzle and this one piece just does not fit. And, we've lost this piece and now we're trying to find it. That's where we're at, that's where I'm at with the whole thing. Because I'm sorry, I've been over there in every place, every possible place, or any tip that's been, gotten to me or the girls or whatever. We have to go check it out and say, oh, well, yeah, maybe we should go search here. Or that's something we need to turn into the detectives or, whatever, and then let them handle it from there and let them do their job, and don't interfere with it. We have to leave it alone now. That's how we go about doing these things. But you can't just keep running with one story and, oh yeah, this is how it happened, because I think that is just a bunch of rumors. But yeah, I would say, yeah, I kind of have an idea where things might have possibly happened.
Okay.
But I don't believe the dog theory. I just don't.
Yeah. And so, okay, you said you don't really want to make it public as to where, so
No,
that's understandable.
no.
Yeah, and somebody said earlier too, if the dog got a hold of her, it would have been a bloody mess, that scene. I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and some people might, think that you can cover things up like trying to clean up the crime scene, but you can't do that with blood. You just cannot do that. Luminol will pick up on that, and that's what they use for forensics. They do it under a black light. That's how they see all of this blood or whatever the case. Um, they've used it in any homicide investigation or missing persons or anything like that. That's what they use. So yeah, that you're absolutely right. Like, how would you clean that kind of a mess up? You have to also put that in perspective.
Justice for Amiah Robertson says something here. This would be a good time to say it because it'll lead into what I'm going to ask you to say next. But she says Amaya's great uncle is now offering $10,000 for any info that leads to an arrest and conviction.
Yes, I was going to bring that up somewhere before we ended the segment. Yes, he is. That was just put out there Saturday. For anybody, it's not just for people with rumors and speculation. That's going to lead to actual tips to get an actual arrest and conviction, or to lead to where Amiah actually is. Amiah has to be found. So yes, he is offering a $10,000 reward. It's a legit reward. So if anybody can help out with that, I mean, that would be greatly appreciated, because with the Crime Stoppers reward, it only went up to like $1,000 or $1,500, and that wasn't getting anyone talking, really. I mean, it just wasn't. So yeah, I was definitely going to bring that up on here.
Okay. So yeah, anyone keep that in mind. If anyone, and the reason I say it'll lead good into what I was going to have you say is the next thing I was going to have you do is, if you want, I'm going to put you on the screen here, so you're only going to see yourself, not me. But if you wanted to speak directly to anyone, who may be on the fence, who knows, maybe this is the first interview they've ever seen on the case, or maybe they've watched all of them, who knows. But if you'd like to speak directly to anyone that may be on the fence or may think they know something, to maybe come forward. I just like to do this segment towards the end where you speak directly to the people versus me.
What I would like to put out there is this is a homicide investigation. This is very serious. This is not just a somebody stole the car kind of deal. We're talking about an 8-month-old baby that didn't have a choice in what happened to her life. So in the end, her demise is that she's deceased and she's never coming back. And if there are people out there with any legit information that could lead to somebody getting arrested, or any type of knowledge of where Amiah might possibly be, they need to speak up. You can do it anonymously. 262 tips. 317-262-TIPS. You can remain totally anonymous. You do not have to give your name if you're frightened or anything like that. But this is a very serious matter, and it's gone on for 2 years. And there are people out here that need closure. Her family needs closure. And there is a father out here. I do believe it's Keith. He would like to have some kind of DNA to know that that was his daughter. He did try his best. He was actually going to fight for Amiah. He has custody of one child, and he has partial custody to the other. He even has a room in his home for Amiah. I've been there. I've seen it. So what I want y'all to know is that it's not okay for a baby to disappear. And yes, there are still people walking around out here. I don't believe that's going to be the case forever. I do believe Amiah will possibly get justice. I want y'all to hold on to that faith. I don't think that people should be giving Amber the okay, because it's not okay. At the end of the day, you're still responsible for what happens to your child. You are her caregiver. You are her mom. I want everybody out here to know that. that was not okay for the people that defend her. And for all of us that are out here fighting for justice, we want y'all to remember that, a lot of you are mothers. And I don't believe that most of you would have put your daughter in that situation, or your son, or whoever. So you got to remember who it is you're defending. Stop it. Stop it.
Absolutely. You've done a great job, CC. I'm sure everyone that loves Amiah is, very happy and very proud of the job you're doing. So please just continue to do what you're doing. Let me know if anything further that I can do. One thing I just realized, I always put the link. I put your link, but I usually put the link to the group, Amiah's group, in the description. I didn't do that, so I can't do it while the video is live. But as soon as we finish, I will add that for anyone that wants to join. And I ask anyone, if you know anything, similar to this, she just said, if you know anything, please come forward. There's no such thing as, information being too small to matter, or don't assume CC or the police already know something so that you won't bother saying it. Just, if you know anything, come forward, no matter what it is, no matter how inconsequential or small it seems. You never know what little piece of the puzzle is going to be what solves it. So just please come forward. She gave the number. There was a 317-262-TIPS. And then, we have the link, all the links as to how to reach, CC or the Justice for Amiah group. They're all in the description below. At least they will be as soon as we finish this video. Just hit show more or show all or whatever under the video where the description is, and all the relevant links will be there. So
I also wanted to say one other thing. If people are scared to say something, I have a lot of people that message me. I let them remain anonymous. I don't put their name out there or anything of the sort. If you're even scared to turn in a tip, come to me. I'll do it. I'll be happy to do it. That's what we do.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so you'll take them anonymously, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So keep that in mind, guys. I know it can be a little daunting to get involved in something like this when you're outside the loop, and you may want to stay that way, but just remember how serious, of a situation this is for the people close to it. And you may hold the key. You may hold the answers, and you may not even know it. So come forward. She's willing to keep you anonymous, and so please keep that in mind. Is there anything I didn't think to cover, or the chat didn't think to ask, that you want to make sure is out there, CC, or did we cover everything?
I think we've covered most everything. If anybody has any more questions, you can come to me and ask me. There's nothing you can't ask me about the case that I don't know. But one other thing I do want to put out there, being that there is a reward, just please please, if anybody's going to turn something in or even come to me with something, please make sure it's not bogus. Please make sure it's legit. I mean, that takes away from Amiah's investigation. And keep in mind, there is not going to be a reward for somebody that is doing that. It has to lead to an arrest or to Amiah's location. So I think everything was covered, though, that I wanted to talk about pretty much.
And if you're just lying, making something up, not only you're not going to get the reward, but you're taking up the resources that could be actually finding her.
Yeah, that's very frustrating. That frustrates me as well, because I've had people to do that to me, and we're over here searching somewhere, and that's a lot of work. Y'all don't understand if you're not doing it. It's a lot of work, and then it could take away from somewhere we could legitimately be searching.
Absolutely.
So, I just don't. The rumors, the lies, that has to stop with people that are doing it. It's frustrating all the way around. For me, for the other girls, for law enforcement, it's just frustrating. Like, it's just not necessary. We just need support. We need prayers. We need, just anything that anybody wants to do out here to help us or to help law enforcement. We're all for it. I mean, there have been a lot of wonderful people that I have met throughout this case, and there have been some pretty awful people that I've met throughout this case. I mean, if anybody wants flyers, I have flyers. If you're local, you can get some from me. any suggestions you may have that is helpful, let me know. Let me know. I'll gladly listen. And if it's something I think that we can utilize out here, we will gladly do it.
Okay. Absolutely. And let me know if there's anything I could do further, CC. Okay. You have
Thank
how to
you.
contact me, of course, for sure.
Absolutely.
So you did an amazing job representing
Thank
for
you.
Amiah tonight, and just keep at it, okay?
Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate your time.
No problem. I appreciate yours as well. And I'll let you go there. Thank you to everyone. Say thank you to CC. She was amazing. And I'll send you a message tomorrow. Let me know if you get any contact from this interview, and we'll go from there.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, CC. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining us. I do want to say thank you to our sponsor who helped bring the show. I'm going to end that with that there. If you would like to sponsor the show at all, the link's in the description to do that. There's a few ways to do it. It's towards the bottom of the description. But tonight's show is brought to you by the Rowdy Crafter Boutique. Amanda Joe of the Rowdy Crafters, a Jane of all trades, creating the finest original works in arts, crafts, and balloon arrangements such as crochets, dream catchers, paper flowers, wreaths, and much, much more. To check out the Rowdy Crafters inventory or order from Amanda's wonderful selection of products, check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/The Rowdy Crafter, linked in the video description below. So you can always support a show that way, or there are other ways to do so in the link below. And just to show you a few of Amanda's products before we finish up here. Thank you to her for helping bring this episode bringing this episode out. We always appreciate people who help support the show. So make sure to check her out, guys. Her link's in the description below as well. And lots of cute stuff for kids and adults and a little bit of everything. She does custom made stuff too. So thank you to her for bringing this to us. And thank you to all you guys for watching. And please support baby Amiah, do anything you can. Oh, thank you also to Be United, who made the flyer that you've seen multiple times here tonight. Check them out. Their link is also in the description, guys. They help with all different missing persons cases and things like that. They're a great group that just kind of helps out. And click subscribe below, set the notification bell to all. And we do these a few times a week, guys. So the next time one's coming up, YouTube will notify you. So thank you to everyone who joined us tonight, and we will finish up right there. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thank you so much. And we will see you tomorrow. We have shows the next 4 nights at least, guys. So please make sure to join us. Tomorrow we have the mother of Ryan McLeod, who's missing. And she'll be coming on to tell his story. So we will see you guys then. And take care. Bye-bye.